Yo, what's good, everyone, and welcome back to the second preview episode of the 2023 NCAA college football preview. I could smell fall. I could smell the fall in the air. Week 0 is about to be single digit days away. We just did the ACC and the SEC. The last episode, check that out. Quick half hour with Chip Murphy and Greg Albert as always. You could also catch us on the Jets episodes. And here we are today. We're going to be doing the Big 10 and the Big 12. And without further ado, Chip, start us off with the Big 10. What do you like as a conference winner? What do you got for an over? What do you got for an under?
Okay, so I'm gonna conference winner. I love Michigan this year. I'm definitely taking Michigan. So my top three, though, I'm going Wisconsin to win the Big Ten West, plus 140 on FanDuel. I love Luke Fickell. And my over and unders, Nebraska over 6.5, plus 114 on FanDuel, and Northwestern under 2.5, plus 118 on FanDuel. Like I said, I love Luke Fickell. They have one of the easiest schedules in the country. The only game they're going to be a dog in is Ohio State. I think they could easily win 10 games. No, I don't see them losing any other game. I love that he brought in Tanner Mordecai and that he's changing the entire Wisconsin offense. He brought in an air raid offensive coordinator. He's going completely against the Wisconsin playbook, which, if you look at what Wisconsin fans think, they love that. They think that there needed to be a
Okay.
shakeup there. And again, I think Luke Fickell is one of the 10 best coaches in the country. The fact that he was able to win like that at what is historically a basketball school in Cincinnati, I'm really interested to see if he can shake up the Big Ten like that.
So,
Northwestern under. Oh, sorry,
wait,
John.
no, it's all good. What'd you say the number was for you for Michigan to win the conference?
Oh, I didn't. Sorry, I didn't see that one. I just have them. They were.
Like plus 180, I see it
Yeah,
as.
yeah, yeah.
So interesting right now on FanDuel, there's Michigan to go undefeated for the season at plus 240. So
Yeah,
I know,
I would take that first because if they win the conference, they're beating Ohio State.
yeah, it's just a regular season. It doesn't count the playoff.
Hmm.
So I feel like that's a bit of a better bang for your buck, an extra 60 over there if it's plus 180 all the way to plus 240. And I mean, you have some more outs with the conference, like if Ohio State messes up here and there. But I agree with you. If you like Michigan, I would just take the go undefeated. I wouldn't even
Yes,
touch the conference.
because if you think they're going to win the conference, then you assume because everybody. I know people are high on Penn State, but if you think Michigan's going to win the conference anyway, you obviously think they're going to beat Penn State. So you might as well take them to run the table. But yeah, like I was saying, Northwestern under 2.5 wins. That's kind of self-explanatory. I think they're going to be a complete train wreck this year. Eventually, at the end of the season, they're going to clean house of everyone that's there, including the AD probably.
Including the program, most
Yeah, the
likely.
program.
We'll see.
Exactly. I feel bad for the kids who were there if they weren't involved in any of this stuff, but let's be honest, man. A lot of these kids transferred. Their top recruits all left and didn't go. I I think it's going to be a disaster there. And I was high on Nebraska last year, and I was totally wrong. Totally wrong. But I'm a huge fan of the Matt Rule hire, and I'm totally drinking the Nebraska Matt Rule Kool-Aid, taking the over there. I'm not going crazy enough to take them to win the Big Ten West just yet. Maybe next year. Maybe next year. If we're doing this next year, I will probably do something crazy like take them. But I love that he brought in Jeff Sims. I think that was really underrated. I think he's already got some good recruits coming in. I don't know. I think it was a great hire there, and I think like Wisconsin, they have a little bit more difficult of a schedule than Wisconsin, but there's some winnable games. They could struggle to pick up that seventh win at the end of the year, but it could depend on the Iowa game at the end of the year, which could be difficult. But I'm also not high on Iowa this year, so I'm
Yeah.
much higher on Nebraska this year than Iowa.
So I see that as actually plus money at plus 114. So
Yes, that's enough. I always try and take plus money on the totals. I don't see the point in taking minus money on totals. I just don't.
all right, real quick before I see what Greg thinks about those two picks, what are your thoughts on Rutgers over 3.5? Or you stick with
No,
the under plus under 3.5 is plus 152.
I'm not. I don't want to bet win totals for Rutgers. I don't have any confidence in them in being good. I don't want to take the under because I don't. I'm gonna cautiously bet them game by game is what I'm gonna do with them. And
It's dangerous. That's a
Yeah,
dangerous
I like
move.
that.
That's a dangerous move.
I know it's a dangerous move, but look, I was looking at my family was out of state. We were on vacation in Massachusetts, and I was looking at Rutgers win totals. I'm like, oh, should I bet this right now? And my brother was like, it's fucking Rutgers. Like, you're not going to take the over on Rutgers football, are you? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I should do that. I
You're
really
lucky.
shouldn't do that.
You're lucky you have your brother around.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Greg, what are your thoughts on the Big Ten, man?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Northwestern under pick. I was back and forth on if I should bet it or not.
It's low.
It's low. It's a low. And
low.
I usually like one or two of those really low ones, each season just
It's
because
low.
it's fun.
Yeah. Look at their schedule, Greg. And you'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, maybe I should. Yeah.
Yeah. So that Wisconsin I stayed away from. You know, the air raid offense coming to Wisconsin is just such an oxymoron that I was thinking about taking the under. I ended up staying away just because, you know, they are the odds-on favorite to win their side of the conference. You know, I think they have a pretty good schedule. I like Fickle from Cincinnati, so he's bringing some guys over. For my picks, I liked Nebraska, and it was more about Matt Rule. I have a tough time quitting Matt Rule, I guess. I'm not sure why that is, and less about Nebraska in the program. I wasn't so high on them as a team or as a program as Chip was. It's more Matt Rule. I think he can turn it around. I think he can turn it around pretty quick. So over 6.5, I like that. I'm going to be taking that. And then, I mean, the big one for me is just kind of who's going to win this conference and who's going to... I think someone from this conference is going to be representing their conference in the college football playoff. So I like Penn State as plus 600 to win the conference, and the over 9.5. I think they had a sneaky good season last year. I don't think a lot of people were talking about them, but 11-2 straight up, 9-3 against the spread. I'll take that all day long. Defense was top notch. Their offense was 50th to 25th in most categories across the board, and they're getting their two running backs last year who almost ran for 2,000 yards. Decent amount of returners. I think 8 on offense, 8 on defense.
Well,
Defense,
the entire offensive line, including the left tackle, is going to be a first round pick.
yeah. So they have some players. The big question for them is quarterback, right? So
They've been waiting for this kid for years, though.
I know.
Not for years, but he's supposed to be the guy.
he's
The
supposed to be
fans
the guy,
wanted him to
but
play last year.
I feel like Penn State's always had the guy that's supposed to be the guy like 3 or 4 times since I've really been starting to watch college football.
Yo, what about Hackenberg, dude?
Yeah. There's a lot
No,
of
but
them
this
over the
guy,
years.
this guy is beyond hacking. This guy's like the chosen one. The way
I
he's
know.
like,
He's supposed to be. So at plus 600, I think it's good odds. I mean, I think they play Ohio State, they play Michigan, so those are going to be 2 tough games, obviously, for them on the season. But other than that, they're going to be double-digit favorites in every other game. Michigan right now, preseason, they get them at home. It's a 3.5-point game. That's a coin flip game for me. And then at Ohio State, I just don't know what we're getting with Ohio State. I was thinking about it, and that's kind of a little bit of a longer form question, but we were talking about the SEC in the last episode. We kind of went quick. I feel like there's more unknowns this year going into college football than in years past. Like, especially at these big-time programs. We talked about Alabama. We talked about
is their
Georgia a little
quarterback
bit.
situation, you mean?
Yeah, just Ohio State and now Penn State, as well as Michigan. Like, I just don't know what we're getting from all these big-time programs. So at plus 600, they're plus 460 to make the playoff. So I think plus 600 is just better odds. And let's worry about the conference. Let's get that done, Penn State. And then we'll figure out the playoffs later. But because the odds are better for them to make the playoffs, like, I think that signals to me that Vegas thinks they're going to be having a chance, a decent chance, to make the playoffs. So they're going to be competitive in this conference. So plus 600 to win the conference might be a shocker. I don't like taking those Ohio States, Michigans, Alabama. I think it's good money this year, but Georgia, those big time favorites. I like to try to stay away from them. So, yeah, Penn State all the way for me. What about you, John? What are you thinking for the Big Ten?
Well, I'm definitely with you on Drew Aller and Penn State. They're bringing back their entire offensive line. Their running backs killed it. They have their entire defense is coming back besides 2, including Brown and Porter, though. So that's kind of tough. Obviously, Porter Jr. was a beast. But they had that crazy outside linebacker, had that breakout season, Abdul Carter.
They always have good linebackers. Like, they're always going to have a decent pass rush. They're always going to have a decent defense.
So I think the 9.5 is too easy. And then when I look at it, it's minus 140. So Vegas also thinks it's too easy because they could lose both Ohio State and Michigan and run the table otherwise, which, like you said, they're favored in every game. Only a couple of them are single digits, right? One's 9.5
Yeah.
at Maryland, and one's 9 at Illinois, and then the 3.5. I mean, and that's it. Everything else, so if they just hit all of those, that's the over 9.5. That's your minus 140. So that's honestly easy to me. Where it starts getting difficult is what's going to happen in the Ohio State game, what's going to happen in the Michigan game, and are they going to make it? I do think they're going to make it. I think they're going to beat both of them. To be honest with you, I think the Michigan game is going to be closer than Ohio State. And I think Penn State is going to win this conference, and I think they're going to make it to the playoff. But I'm not sure how that's going to go. We'll see how the other teams look in the playoff. But to be honest with you, Penn State, Florida State, so far, we did the ACC yesterday. Obviously, somebody from the SEC is coming in, whether it's Alabama or Georgia or LSU maybe. So honestly, this is our third conference that we're previewing, and I think this is the third playoff team that I got. I love Penn State this year. I love that they have their entire offensive line coming back. It just scares me that other people are like them, but then I look at the odds and they're third. Like, they're way behind Ohio State and Michigan until the season starts. So I'm okay with it. Like you said, I agree with you on Ohio State. I think with CJ Stroud gone, it's going to be tough for them, but they have the number one offensive player in the league.
Yes.
His name is Marvin Harrison Jr., and he's an absolute killer. So we got to watch out for him. They're going to put up points against teams. I like Michigan. Like, I'm just like, I like Michigan this year. I think the only game they're going to have trouble with is this Penn State game. So we'll see. I think Michigan might beat Ohio State again. And then I believe that Penn State's going to beat Michigan. And then they're going to play each other again in the championship. So, and then we'll see what happens. It's possible that Michigan loses in the regular season and then beats them. Like, we'll see. We'll see how it plays off. But instead of it being Michigan Ohio State, I think it's going to be Michigan Penn State this year.
Last championship game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Last few things that I want Chip to chime in on Penn State, because I feel like he's gonna have something to say about Penn State and James Franklin. James Franklin 3-9 against Ohio State and Michigan since he's been there in 2017. That's one thing to point out. John, to piggy off what you said for Chip for going undefeated, Penn State plus 1,000 to go undefeated. It's pretty good. It's better than plus 600 to win the conference. It's better than plus 450 or 460 to make the national championship. Last thing of why I like Penn State and why I think they have a good shot this year, ranked 8th in the country. Defense is ranked 8th in the country in turnovers last year. They talk about turnover luck. I think a lot of it's opportunity with turnovers. Ohio State ranked 68th. Michigan ranked 81st in the country. I think when you start looking at those like 50-50 balls, I think they might go Penn State's way this year if this defense could keep turning them over. Joey Porter, he's gone. A couple other guys gone, so they have to reload at some spots. But that front seven, that linebacking core, hopefully getting some pressure on these opponents, leading to some turnovers for them. So, Chip, what do you think about Penn State winning it all in the Big Ten this year?
I think the key to me is still what you said about James Franklin being 3-9 against Ohio State and Michigan since he got there.
Yeah.
I will believe that he can beat one or both of them in the same season when I see it happen consistently. Like, I just don't see it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe Michigan
Chip.
is so Michigan. Like you were talking about Penn State bringing everybody back. Michigan brought everybody back too. They brought back most of their production from last year. And yes, Ohio State lost their quarterback, but they also brought back one of the best wide receivers and running backs in the country. They still have, if not the best wide receiver room in the country, the second best wide receiver room in the country, one of the top 3 at least. And no one's talking about Travion Henderson. He's amazing, amazing running back. So they're still loaded. Michigan is loaded. J.J. McCarthy's really good. Blake Corum's amazing. I don't know, man. I'd still take both their rosters over Penn State's, and it all comes down to how good is Drew Aller going to be. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like if he turns out to live up to his hype as a recruit, then Penn State would be right in the thick of it because he may end up being the best quarterback out of those three teams.
Yeah, again, it's only coming down to 3 games. It's going to come down to Ohio State versus Michigan.
course.
It's going to come to Penn State versus Ohio State, Penn State versus Michigan.
That's what it always comes down to in the Big Ten. Yeah.
that's
For
how it's all
now,
going to figure
anyway,
itself out. I do like the Wisconsin air raid idea, but that's just for fun. I'm not really taking that.
I'm looking forward to seeing. I like the Tanner Mordecai kid they got there from SMU. He threw for 1 billion yards at SMU. I think he's gonna make things very interesting there. But yeah, they're not gonna beat Ohio State on the road, of course.
All right. Any last words on the Big Ten before we move on to the Big 12?
I'm all set.
Greg, what do we think about the Big 12? I mean, it seems competitive from the outside, but then you start looking closer, you might start finding some gaps. Are you a Longhorn this year?
Never.
Never.
I might be just betting the under just to be a party pooper with everyone else, man. I feel like Texas is back every single season. I say it every year.
This year they actually are, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it always goes. So I'm looking in the crumbs. I'm trying to find something here, a little value here and there. Dude, all right, so let's start with my unders because I feel like it's a little bit more pessimistic. West Virginia 4.5, Iowa State 4.5. I talked about kind of liking these low totals. These are low totals, but I just think this conference is very strong. They're going to be beating each other up, and if you don't have top-end talent, I mean, West Virginia's defense ranked 100th in the country in most defensive categories last year. Not returning a ton of people, like 6 on offense, 7 on defense, so I guess half the squad's not bad. Offense, again, middle of the road on everything. And when you look at the schedule, I see one guaranteed win. Other than that, every game's going to be competitive, and they're double-digit favorites in 4 games. So I don't know where you scrape together 4 or 5 wins from this West Virginia team. I see some places have it at 3.5, some places have it at 4.5, so it depends on where you're getting it. I want it closer to minus 110 as I can get it, so whatever that is on your sports book, I would go with that, because I just don't see 4 wins on this schedule for West Virginia. The other one, I hate to say it, because I feel like the Jets have such a connection with Iowa State over the last few years, but, Will McDonald's gone. I don't know where this offense goes. I mean, it ranked 100th, 120th in a lot of categories. They return a lot of guys, so maybe they take a step. But, again, 5.5, 4.5, I see in different sports books. I see one double-digit favorite on the schedule so far. I know schedules change, but 4-8 last year. Don't see a ton of improvement on this squad. So, yeah, give me those 2 unders.
In the conference last year.
What's up?
1-8 in the conference last year.
1-8 in the conference last year, and it was all on defense. I mean, we all remember, Iowa State, Iowa. Also, too, they have all the off-field stuff, right? Over the last few years, it seems like allegedly people are gambling on games. So I think there's a lot of scrutiny in the program, a lot of people, a lot of eyes on the program. Coach might be on the hot seat. AD might be on the hot seat. Players might be on the hot seat. We don't know. So last thing, strength of schedule, according to this guide that I use, 7th toughest out of the country. It's a tough schedule for them. I just don't see how you scrape together 4 or 5 wins if you're Iowa State this season.
I mean, I like almost all the unders in this conference as well, which makes no sense, obviously. But I'm not going to take them. I just have no confidence in any of these teams. But for me, the one that really, really stands out is TCU, man. TCU 9.5. I think they're going to stink this year. They had Duggan last year. It was the most amazing season for them, honestly.
Yeah.
One of the, they had a wide receiver go in the first round. Did he go in the first? Yeah, right. He won in the first.
Quentin Johnson went to Chargers.
Yeah, so like they're about to have a little fall from grace. But when you look at the schedule, I don't really see difficult teams, right? The opening game versus Colorado was very interesting.
Yeah.
Versing Prime and his son and the number 1.
Colorado wins that game, the hype is going to be insane.
Dude, it's 21. They're minus 21. That's crazy. I don't. That's an insane number. That is literally going off of last year. So I wonder if that's going to change once uh, September 2nd rolls around. We're getting kind of close though.
Yeah.
If they lose that game, I mean they do have Nickel State after, so they're minus 48. So they'll pick up there, but they could lose to Colorado. They could lose to SMU, and those are both home games. They also have Texas at home. Those are three very difficult games. I think it's funny that they have West Virginia and Iowa State back to back. Greg, you're gonna be a big TCU fan.
Yeah, for that stretch.
Yeah. But yeah, TCU is my huge under here. But I got Texas winning the conference, and I'm excited to see what Chip has to say about that Texas winner.
I'm with everything you guys have said so far. You literally went right with me. John, I have Texas to win the Big 12 and TCU under. And Greg, the West Virginia under. I love that one because I love the dead man walking coach thing. I think Neil Brown is probably the most likely coach to get fired during the season.
Okay.
So I think that team's going to be so uninspired. I think you're right on with that. And they have a tough non-conference schedule. They open up, they play Penn State, and they got the backyard brawl against Pitt. I don't think he lasts the whole season. I think that's a good one. And John, I'm with you on TCU 100%. I think there's going to be regression. You have the offensive coordinator leaving too. Garrett Riley went to Clemson. That's always spells trouble, and new quarterback.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I don't know if I said 9.5, but it's 7.5, and it's minus money. But I still like the under.
still take it. It's plus TCU under is plus money on FanDuel, plus 118 on FanDuel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
But
It's the same.
Shop those lines.
Yeah, plus one.
Yeah.
All right.
My other total is Oklahoma State over 6.5 wins, which is minus money 6.5. I think everybody's sleeping on Oklahoma State. It's crazy. Yeah, like Mike Gundy has been there 18 seasons. He's won 7 regular season games in 13 of those 18 seasons. They always just hang around. They're always good. I don't buy that Oklahoma State's just going to fall off a cliff. I don't buy that at all. I think they're going to still be good. So, and then I'm with you on Texas, 100%. I guess I'm drinking the Kool-Aid on Texas too. Texas is back, whatever. I like Quinn Ewers. It's good for college football if Texas is good. Let's be honest. We all want Texas to be good because even if you hate Texas, which I mean, I'm from New Jersey. I don't have a strong opinion on the one way or the other, but like it's better for them to be back so you can hate them. It's kind of like the Yankees, like where even if people hate the Yankees, you want them to be good so you can root against them in the playoffs, right?
I would love that.
No.
Chip. Yeah. I would love if we could be bad enough to make the playoffs so everyone could hate us. That's a different story for a different day.
That would be awesome. You can hate us all you want in the playoffs, but you can't right now because we suck.
The last one that I'm going to look at, and I don't feel too confident about this, but it's just a team that I have my eye on this year, is SMU. They have a pretty easy schedule. They have the 89th toughest schedule of 133. Pretty easy, if you ask me. The problem is they get smacked by like Rice every year. Like Rice owns them, right? And Rice has like 2 wins a season. So like, so what is an easy schedule really? But I mean, Louisiana Tech, Prairie View at TCU. I think that's a crazy one. They have Charlotte. They're at ECU. They're at Temple. Like those are they win a couple of those games. We're already like 1 or 2 games from the over. They have 16 starters coming back, 8 on offense, 8 on defense. It's a second year with their offensive coordinator, so some continuity there. They're like trying to build something, as opposed to a team that really peaked last year. I think that it's slow because they were bad last year, but I think they're like starting to figure it out, or at least I'm hoping so. So I have my eye on SMU. They're like a week to week bet for me. Like that plus 15 at Oklahoma week 2 on September 9th. I really like that. 15 points. I might hit the money line there. I might see if I can take TCU early because 10 points is crazy. I don't think that's gonna be there on September 23rd. So I might just try to make some quirky parlays. And speaking of parlays, if you are interested in and listening to these previews, and you like some of the conference winners we're picking, if you throw some of those together, you can get some really, really good odds. And on FanDuel and DraftKings, I saw that they let you parlay the conference winners. I have a couple of NFL and NCAA
Nice.
together for like less than $1 to win unreal amount of money, which is never going to hit. But if it does,
Yeah.
if I'm right about everything, which will never happen, that'll be something. So it also just gives me something to root for, right? So you can't really do that with the over unders. So like I might, mess around. Yeah, sure, I have Texas, but maybe I'll take one with SMU just in case. Obviously, it's not going to happen, but just to mess around. You throw Penn State into one. You leave Clemson out, of course. You know how it is. But Greg, anything else you got on the Big 12?
Yeah, last team I'm looking at, I can't decide if it's going to be like a weekly bet thing or what. I got addicted at one point last year to betting Kansas, and I might be back again this year. Jalen Daniels was quarterback last year, got hurt. They started out 5-0. He's obviously back and healthy. 10 returners on offense, including the quarterback. Defense was the problem last year, and bad, backup quarterback playing the second half of the season. But, when they were winning games, it was 55-42, 48-30, 35-27. I mean, these are big-time scores. So check out Kansas in the over. 6, I think, is the line. Might be 6.5. But they have a good shot to start the season 4-0. I mean, tough 2 games are Illinois and BYU, which are like 1 or 2 point spreads. They have both of them at home. And then 2 road games, which are their double-digit favorites. So they might start 4-0, and then they have a lot of spreads that are 4, 5, and 6 the rest of the way. So you need to pick up 2 or 3 wins. Might be something to look at. I'm interested to see if Jalen Daniels can stay healthy, but that defense, 7 returning defensive guys, all in the secondary and linebacker. So hopefully they take a step up, and they completely gutted and reloaded that defensive line. So a little bit of pressure will help this team out go from being ranked 120th, 117th, 115th in the country at a 133 in most spots.
Also, I don't know why I was talking about SMU, but I know it's a different conference, but it's just because TCU was playing with them. But
That's
anyway,
right.
Yeah, anyway.
That's my last one though for the Big 12.
All right, we'll do the AAC next week. We also got to do the Pac-12, which I
Pac-12, we have
absolutely
to.
Oh,
There's a
last-
lot to talk
last
about
one.
with the Pac-12.
love. So we'll do those 2 next week, and then we'll leave the MAC and the Sun Belt for the last episode of the
Sun Belt
previews before week 0, baby. It's right around the corner. And of course, we'll touch on the independent Notre Dame, who's obviously going to make the college playoff, but that's a different story for a different day. Shout out Sam Hartman. It's going to be a season. By the way, I'm telling you right now, I cannot wait until we hear the Sam Hartman kind of Anthony Richardson angle like during this season. All of a sudden, he's going to come up. Like maybe Notre Dame's going to lose some games because they're not like well coached or whatever it is, but Sam Hartman's going to be on the map. I cannot wait for the season of Hartman.
He's going to throw for a lot of touchdowns this year. And I'm telling you, the Heisman narrative, we talked on the last episode, the Heisman narrative is going to be there for Sam Hartman. They're going to be pushing it. And the schedule is tough, though. But if they pull off like one of those wins, like if they beat Clemson, like we were talking about the Dion narrative, or if they beat TCU, imagine Sam Hartman has a big game and they beat Clemson. Isn't it at Clemson that game, too?
It might be.
Yeah, if they beat Clemson at Clemson. Yeah.
Oh, I imagine, Chip. I imagine.
Well, I took him after we did the last episode. I don't know if you took him to win the Heisman, John. I took him to win the Heisman. Yeah.
Oh, I have Hartman everywhere. What are your odds on him?
Wasn't it like plus 1,600, I think?
Yeah.
I think it went down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have for 1,600 as well.
Yeah.
I also have him on Mojo. If you're in New Jersey, definitely look at that app.
Yes.
I got Hartman everywhere, man.
His numbers are going, whether he wins the Heisman or not, he's going to throw for a lot of yards. He's a great quarterback.
And he's going to get drafted.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why he left. He left because, he's much more likely to be drafted higher from Notre Dame. And also, he's going to make more money at Notre Dame than he would at Wake
I
Forest.
also,
Yeah.
I also think this is so funny because literally for the rest of time, it's gonna be Sam Hartman from Notre Dame, and
Yeah.
Which is kind of sucks for Wake Forest, but hey.
it's so funny. It's literally like saying LeBron is a Laker, like is an all time Laker. Like you're
Yeah.
just like it's just like such a weird like
Especially if Notre Dame's really good, like if they go to a New Year's Six bowl or something, then he is a Notre Dame quarterback.
it's so interesting. Yeah, when he gets drafted, it's gonna be like, oh, I can't believe how high this Notre Dame quarterback's gonna
Yeah.
be. People are gonna start judging him based on Notre Dame quarterback. It's just funny. Like he's not gonna go to one class. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's gonna be fun. All right. Any last thoughts here?
No.
Just one more. I talked the last episode. Boston College for the ACC is a team I'm going to fade all year. You brought up Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a team I'm going to fade all year in the Big 12. Their win total is insane to me.
Yeah.
8 it is. I'm looking at right now. We have no idea if Brett Venables is a good coach. Yeah, and they're bringing back the same quarterback last year, Gabriel, who they were bad last year with him. And I know he was hurt for part of the year, but they still weren't very good when he played. We have no idea if this guy can coach. He's supposed to be a defensive coordinator, and the defense was terrible last year. I know it was 1 year, but it's still such a high win total for a guy in his second year after a bad first season. I feel like we have completely forgotten about how bad last year was, and we're just like, oh, it's Oklahoma again. Like, no, it's not. Like, look what happened last year. They could really suck again.
Well, Chip, this is like my dumb gambling brain, as me and Greg like to refer to ourselves when we're discussing this, and it's so funny you bring that up. And this is maybe a nice little way to end this episode, but I will never forget how bad Oklahoma was last year, because around this time last year, I was putting them in all of my parlays, and I was killing it everywhere, and there was just 0% chance of any of these hitting because of Oklahoma. So I have a personal vendetta against Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I will not forget last year. I hate Oklahoma. I didn't even like when I looked at the odds for the conference, and I saw that Texas and Oklahoma were near each other, and like it really fell off after that. I was like, oh, this is easy for me. Like, this is not, I'm not even looking at Oklahoma. I cannot wait to fade them. Under 8, no problem. I'm going to bet against them from week to week. Like, that's going to be something that I always just toss in. Like, I can't stand them.
So am I. I'm going to put that in parlays. And Michigan State, too, because I hate Michigan State the way I like. I'm going to fade Michigan State all year. I just hate Michigan State.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. That wraps up our episode. If you're on YouTube, if you could like and subscribe to our channel, that'd be great. We just need a couple more subscribers here to change up for us on Knicks, Jets, etc. Period. And also, if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, you give us that like, give us that subscribe. It'll help us out. That's pretty much it. We have 2 more preview episodes for the conferences, and then it's week 0. If you like NFL, me and Greg will be doing obviously from week to week, but we'll have an AFC and an NFC preview with the divisions. Obviously, we're going to be picking the New York Jets to win the AFC East. But if you want to tune in for the other divisions, come listen to that. And wow, week 0, week 1, right around the corner. My guilty pleasure right now is asking Siri how many days until week 1 for the NFL. So I'm hyped.
Me too. 8 days till Notre Dame Navy. I never thought I would be so excited for Notre Dame to play Navy, but
We're here.
Yeah.
In Ireland, baby, Sam Hartman. He's about to change up the world's view on him. Hopefully, in a good way. Last year, week 0 worked out good for me, Chip. Remember that? I loved week 0 last year. That was Bo Nix. This year,
didn't work out good for me, but it worked out good for you.
This year, they're giving me Sam Hartman. It's really classic that these are the 2 quarterbacks that they give me on week 0, like back-to-back years, where they've been my 2 favorite guys. Delusionally, but whatever.
You called Bo Nix last year, man. Bo Nix was amazing last year.
We'll talk about the Pac-12 because we'll see. We'll see, man.
Some DJ talk in the next episode. From me, anyway. I don't know about you guys.
Greg, any last words?
No, stick with us. Like you said, we're doing weekly episodes for the NFL. We'll be doing weekly episodes for the college as well. So it's going to be a long season. It's going to be a fun season. I'm excited that it's here. I'm excited to do these last couple preview episodes because we're sharing picks, we're sharing information. I mean, I got some picks out of this. I wrote down on my Excel sheet. I'm going to be putting those in, so ready for it. Excited.
Dude, I can't wait for the full NFL slates, man. We're almost back, Greg. We're
Yeah,
almost
Penn
back.
State plus 1,000 to go undefeated. Putting that in as soon as we're done.
Oh boy,
Let's go.
you guys are gonna look really smart, man, if that happens.
Let's go. Let's go. All right, we out.